Hey everybody, it's Andy Gross, Law of Sandra P. Gross. I do veterans disability appeals for veterans of the United States military, no matter where they are across the country, and I also do veteran-focused estate planning and elder law in Maryland and D.C. Today I want to take a moment and talk about the fourth quarter numbers from the Board of Veterans Appeals. Now, you've seen my videos before. You've probably heard me complain a little bit about the delays because it feels like it's taking forever to get stuff out of the Board of Veterans Appeals. Personally, I've got veteran clients who've had their case sitting there for over 1,100 days in some cases, and it's very frustrating. But what we can do is we can actually go to the Board of Veterans Appeals website and take a look at some of the numbers here that can tell us what their progress is. So let's take a look at what's going on with the Board of Veterans Appeals. Now, these numbers, by the way, and I'm reading off my screen, so pardon me what's going on right now. And I want to take an overall look at what's going on at the end of fiscal year 2022. And this is the fiscal year that ended in September 30th, 2022. So I'm recording this on December 13th. It's a little bit after this report came out, but it's still helpful to know. Overall, it looks like the number of hearings pending has gone down significantly since the first quarter, and that's a good thing. Overall, it looks like those have dropped by over 13,000, with the biggest drop actually being in the legacy appeals. Now, of course, the AMA appeals have gone up. The number of those still pending. That's not a surprise. The number of overall legacy appeals themselves has also gone down, but the number of AMA appeals has gone up, which is kind of a bummer. And the overall workload, though, has crept up. Last quarter, it was holding steady around 200,000 for the first half of the year, and it's crept up to almost 210,000, which could be could be an issue of how many they've received, because that has also gone up quite significantly. In quarter four, they received 20,000 appeals, but in the first three quarters of the year, it was only 14 to 15,000. So they did see a number of appeals come in over the last a sharp uptick, in AMA appeals. Now, here's what is the number that everybody wants to know. What is the average days to complete? Now, in the direct review lane, in quarter one, it said 321 days. In quarter two, 344. In quarter three, 359. And then that's ticked up to 363 now. So we've seen almost a 40-day increase in the average. What they don't tell us about these numbers, though, is that how much of these are advanced on the docket because the veteran is terminally ill or has severe financial problems. Their timeliness goals are 1 year, 365 days, and they say they're hitting that on average, but that's only when you hit that has to be when you hit the advancement on the docket cases, because I can tell you that I have not had a decision on direct claim in some time, and a lot of those are sitting there for 5, 6, 7, 800 days or more without a decision. And I don't think they're even been assigned to a judge yet. So that is a very significant delay, and those numbers probably don't mean a whole lot. Average days pending, again, these numbers don't mean anything. They say for direct appeals it's 393. They say hearing days under the AMA is 700 days. I don't believe that either, because that is probably, again, only if it's advanced on the docket. I am way behind. Or rather, my average is way behind that, and everyone I speak to is too. So this must be only advanced on the docket. And the sad thing is, as a side note, back in 2019, early 2020, when this started, I was telling veterans, hey, this is the goal for them to complete. And for a moment, they were actually turning around BVA appeals really quickly inside these time frames. I think that they've shifted resources and they've changed some workflow rules, which I think has slowed things down a bit, which would explain why the average days to complete has gone up, right? Now, the average days complete has gone up. That's not a good thing. That should be independent of how many cases they have, to a certain degree. But in any event, they've also scheduled their numbers as far as hearings go. They scheduled 52,942 hearings, but they only held 30,000 of those hearings. And that's kind of depressing, because that means that 40-something% of veterans who have a hearing scheduled don't have them held. Part of that reason is because if you have to reschedule it, it's like a nightmare. You have to fax it in, and you might get a response, and you might not. And it's a mess. There's no real effective way to reschedule it and hear about it or cancel your hearing. So again, these numbers, I think that they could definitely be cleaned up and expedited if we get some changes under the new chairman of the Board of Veterans Appeals. So let's take another look, though, at the last number on this screen. How are these issues being disposed? What happens at the Board of Veterans Appeals? Now, as I've probably said elsewhere, if you go to the Board of Veterans Appeals, they can do a couple different things. They can grant the request, grant whatever you're seeking. They can deny whatever you're seeking, or they can remand it and send it back to the board or back to the regional office for additional work. Now, my personal philosophy when I'm dealing with these cases is that you should never have a remand at the Board of Veterans Appeals. And what I mean by that is that you should always get your case, or you should always try to get your case to the best possible place evidentiarily, if that's a word, so the BVA can just grant it. Hopefully they won't deny it, but they can just grant it because you've got all the evidence lined up. You don't want them to remand it back to the regional office to develop more evidence, because that adds another 3 months to 3 years onto your claim. And that can be a pain in the neck. And oftentimes, I can speak from experience, the regional office isn't going to follow the instructions the BVA gave them. So it could just be an entirely wasted exercise. I have one case right now that has gone to the Board of Veterans Appeals 3 times because the regional office refuses to do the right thing. It is really difficult. So we should never be a remand. But it looks like, across the board for the Appeals Modernization Act cases, about a third of those end up being remands, which is a little less actually than the legacy cases. That's good news. But sadly, it looks like that grants are only amounting to about between 25 and 40% total, which again, not a great number, but it's better than nothing. So, what are the takeaways? The Board of Veterans Appeals is still really slow. That has changed my strategy when I'm working with clients. I try not to get things into the Board of Veterans Appeals because then we're going to be waiting for 3, 4, 5 years. I don't like waiting for these issues. You don't like waiting for these issues. It's just not good. So what I try to do is I try to use the regional office as much as possible to get the case into the best shape possible, which might take itself a year or two. And then if we need to, and only if we need to, we go to the Board of Veterans Appeals at the end of the day. Anyway, that's my take on the most recent Board of Veterans Appeals numbers. I have a link to the Board of Veterans Appeals numbers in the comment section. If you like this video, please like it and please subscribe. Browse around the page, take a look at other stuff. We're always taking suggestions for things to talk about. Also, if you're a veteran struggling with your VA disability benefits appeal and you've been working on it a while and you're getting nowhere, give me a call. The way to reach out is in the links page, or in the comment section, rather not comment section, the description section of this video. And I'd love to see if we could perhaps help you out on your particular appeal. With that said, take care until next time.